Hello, my name is Regina Shannon, and I'm the author of 14 books with another one on the way. Although I wouldn't say I am an expert author, I have learned quite a bit about writing and self-publishing, and this video will be about sharing that experience. The subject will be how to brainstorm a novel storyline by answering a series of questions. However, what I learned the hard way was that the chronological order in which you ask and answer these questions can turn a brainstorming session from trying and tedious to much easier and simple. This video series will have 2 videos. I also have it in blog form, which I will post the links for below. And it will be about the chronology of questions to easily create a workable storyline. For simplicity, I've broken this brainstorming process down into 2 phases of questions because in order to answer the second set of questions, it's easier to know the answers to the first set of questions. In my humble opinion, if you just start asking random questions that pop into your head without some order, it can lead to more confusion and chaos. It can even frustrate the story engineer into thinking it's not a workable storyline, even though it may be. The first set of questions will guide you through brainstorming a broad stroke storyline into existence. It will end with stick figures. The characters will be stick figures. The locations and motivations will be stick figures, so to speak. Knowing this ahead of time, you will know you are making progress if the stick figures all have the potential to interact and connect with each other without an issue. The second set of questions, which I will get into in the next video, will help you turn the brainstorming questions into a workable storyline that will begin to lift off the paper and become two-dimensional. So let's get started. The first question is a what question. What will the mystery or crime be? Will it be a psychological thriller and mind control is the crime? Will it be a murder mystery? If so, what is the cause of death? If it's a science fiction thriller, what mystery will hook the reader and thread through the entire story only to be revealed at the end? Any experienced author will tell you that any book, regardless of genre, needs at least a string of mystery or suspense running through it. This is what keeps the reader reading. What will the mystery, crime, or element of suspense be in your storyline? The answer to this question will begin the workable storyline. Be specific in your answer to this question. What specific crime or mystery will drive the plot? Is it a murder, a theft, a missing person, a haunted house, a psychological event that will change a family forever, or something more unique? What are the simple circumstances that surround this mystery? Think broad strokes, just a list of 3 general details. The type of crime or mystery will dictate the investigative methods and details. It will also dictate what clues will be needed in order to slowly reveal the mystery throughout the 4-part plot structure. The answer to this question may also reveal the complexity of the story. For example, a financial crime is more complex than a murder mystery. The choice of crime may also determine the book genre. If it's a grisly murder, it may default into a crime noir. If it entails mind games or gaslighting, it may default into a psychological mystery. If it's a small town and there won't be any bloody details or romantic spice, it can either be a clean mystery novel or even a cozy mystery. This question will also determine the core of your story and may also determine not only a certain genre, but a book category or two as well. Will it be a gritty murder mystery or a whimsical cozy mystery? Will it be a missing persons novel that is all about the revelation of one secret after another? Or will it be an amateur sleuth murder with a satirical edge? If it will be a murder mystery, you will need to choose a cause of death. If it's a police procedural, you may need to cover fingerprints and DNA evidence. If it's a fraud crime, you may need to weave in a computer tech wizard character to find the clues. If it's a private investigator novel, you may need to weave in surveillance and neighbor interviews. Think about what avenues you as the author will need to go down in order to tell the story. A little tip for newbies. My first novel series was with a private investigator because it didn't require knowing police law or the intricacies of police training, etc. Taking on a police procedural or an FBI agent plotline will require much more research and may not be the fodder for a first time author. Now, the second question is a who question. Who is the protagonist or hero of the story? Is he or she a private detective, an amateur sleuth, a police officer, or maybe just a weekend visitor who is inadvertently led into solving a mystery? Another tip is this. At this early stage in brainstorming, don't choose a background or a motivation or any personal traits or challenges for the protagonist. It's too early. You will need to coordinate and connect all of the characters, the crime or mystery, all of the suspects and their motivations before you can weave any story around any of them. In this phase of brainstorming, you are really choosing only what hat your main character will wear. But at the same time, you may be choosing the book genre and the ultimate marketing categories for the finished book, which can be a good thing. The third question is another who question. Who is the victim? Determine the identity, background, and significance of the victim. This decision can affect the motive, the suspects, and the overall narrative story arc. The victim's characteristics can also influence how the crime impacts other characters or the community at large. Before figuring out who the suspects are, you need to know who the victim is and why they were murdered or wronged in some way. If it's not a crime story, but just a mystery or thriller, you will still need a victim. They may not die in the story, but there will be at least an injustice done to them. What is that injustice and who is the victim of it? The victim's background, their relationships, and their secrets are all vital. Were they likable? Did they have known enemies? A compelling victim, even if flawed or even dead, gives the reader someone to care about and root for. Even if the victim hasn't been killed or murdered, who is being bullied or targeted as the victim and why? Now we'll go to the fourth question, and that is a where question. Where will the story take place? Most stories will have multiple stages, but where will most of this action take place? Will it be a haunted estate house, a corrupt business office? Will it be on the streets of a cityscape? How does the setting influence the mood and the unfolding of the mystery? For example, if it's a Gothic novel, you will want a large estate house or a monastery or a castle, a place that has secret rooms, tunnels, or has a long history with a lot of secrets. If it's an urban thriller, you will need several stages in a cityscape. If it's a psychological thriller, you may need at least a mental institution. Think of yourself as a location scout for a movie. What interesting places can most of the drama take place in? Choose a location that not only serves as a backdrop or a stage for the events to take place in, but which can become its own character. What secrets does the location harbor? Who lived in the historic mansion in another era? Will you need a remote island somewhere to have a closed door mystery? In a cityscape, the backdrop may be about a certain era, or just a gritty story, or a surreal story. In a mystery drama, what happened in the main family history that started all of the secrecy? What sin has been passed down through the generations? What corporate setting do you need to show backdoor deals or money laundering? What setting can you choose that will enhance the story? If it's a cozy mystery, what quirky town or setting will give the story a whimsical feel? The setting can range from a small isolated town where everyone knows each other to a bustling city with numerous hideouts, each providing different challenges and atmospheres for the mystery or suspense. And now let's go to the fifth question, which is a how question. How does the mystery, crime, or injustice happen? How will the ultimate culprit have secret access to the victim? What evidence will there be at the scene of the crime that will begin the formal or informal investigation? And who will those initial clues point to? If it's not a crime novel, how did the underlying mystery come to be? Is it a generational sin that transferred through generations to a child or grandchild? Is the estate house not at rest because of a secret that it and the family are keeping? How does that play out? How does the story dilemma or conflict come to be? How the crime happens will be only known to you as the author. The real motivation, the real suspect, and the last revealing clue will need to remain hidden until part 4 of the story structure. But knowing how the mystery happens, who is ultimately responsible, and how that last clue will be discovered will give you a destination in the storyline. This will be the secret pathway you are following when writing the entire story. And now let's go to the sixth question, which is a when question. When does the mystery or crime happen? Will the story be set in a specific time period? Will it just be a general contemporary book that won't reference any specific time at all? Or will it be specifically cast in an era or a time period that will require research? Is the time period of when the story occurs relevant? Is your emerging storyline a historical novel? Will the time frame of the story determine how the case is solved? In other words, will it be before the internet or before cell phones? And if so, how relevant is the time era to the story? Will the time period affect what ultimate genre your book will be placed in? Will it qualify as a historical novel? Is it possible to set the crime novel back in time in order to market the book as not only a crime story, but as a historical novel? It makes things easier if you can decide on these things in the brainstorming period. Now, these initial questions will allow you to sketch in a storyline with very broad strokes. The victim, protagonist, suspects, setting, and time era are named and sketched in only as stick figures or location suggestions only. Don't be discouraged if everything seems bland or one-dimensional. Working from this one dimension until you lay in a mystery or a crime spine of the story will ultimately make fleshing out the entire story and the characters so much easier. Be sure to check back for part 2 of this series for the next set of questions, which would be questions 7 through 10, and a few newbie tips as well. Now, if you learned anything or enjoyed the video, I would appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll leave you with a list or a panel of my books that are all available on Amazon.com, and I'll see you in the next video.